My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. In this video I'm going to show you the typical jobs that I complete on a weekly basis so as to keep ahead and keep my garden looking attractive. Now the secret here is that a little bit frequently means that the job doesn't get away from you and it stays very manageable and enjoyable. Let me show you how. In this video I'm going to show you typical tasks that I might do throughout the week. This whole little job list is 20 minutes at most. First of all, I want to assure you that the spectacular Regerzia that I recently purchased was kept hydrated and promptly planted, which is something I encourage you all to do. Here I have to lift up a little bit of my cobblestone pathway to make space for it, but this will be a permanent position. It will stay here through the fall, through the winter, and then hopefully it'll grow here next spring. And there's no reason why it shouldn't. But I have to stress, when you buy those little treasures, it's tempting to get them, and then when you get them home, they might kick around for a few weeks, all the time declining, drying out, getting too hot, getting nibbled by rabbits or who knows what. So should you have gone out and bought something rather special, please take the time to get that plant in the ground. Now I cannot stress this enough, make sure that you dig a nice wide hole. You don't want to dig it too deep so that the plant gets buried, and you don't want it too high so that it stays dry even when you water it. I take time to backfill it and then always give it just a little drink of water. You don't need to have the hose gushing like Niagara Falls. Just go around in circles and make sure that all of the hole that you dug is rehydrated. Think of it as a battery. It's storing water for your plant to thrive. Now I do this multiple times in the summer, and people are horrified that I would attack my beautiful Musa Basjou in such an aggressive way. Because I have no space, I can't set this further away from the path, so it's quite close. And I will come along and cut back 3 or 4 of these large leaves, sometimes more, so that I can easily walk through. And then the plant is not wasting energy. It can grow new leaves that grow taller, and I get a very, very striking foliage plant. And these will then get folded up, put in the area for them to decompose and come back into garden in future years. Now I saw this in England years ago. Rather than picking a bench up with 2 people and moving it to weed behind it, what you have to do is just rock it forwards. Just roll it on its side, well, its front. And then you can get in there and start weeding. And weeding is a wonderful activity. Plant your feet, don't be forever moving them, and get all the weeds in that area before you then walk forward. And I'm making sure that I pull up all the weeds from the roots, give them a little wiggle and a jiggle, and everything comes out. This was a 2-minute job. It was no big deal. And then I'll go back through with my masonry trowel, and any of the little seedlings that are still in there, I just cut through them, and they can happily die in place. So this is not a chore. This is a very easy project that one person can do, and it takes but a few minutes. No hurting backs and no broken branches. This is the rather spectacular Erythrina bidwillii. This is it earlier in the season when it put out copious amounts of beautiful scarlet red flower spikes. I've got to say, a little bit taken aback, but my patience has been rewarded. 3/4 of those flower spikes have now gone brown, so they serve no purpose. But the very base of the flower spike has now sprouted new shoots. And it's those new shoots that I wanted to see before I got in there and really started pruning. So it had about 13 or 14 flower spikes, and I can now say that they've all been removed, and we'll be getting a second flush in a few weeks' time. This is a plant, it's called bindweed or convolvulus. It's self-set. I don't have the heart to dismiss it and rip it out. But it is incredibly rampant, so I will come along and happily give it a very vigorous haircut. I love the shape of the purple flowers, and I like the colour. They last but one day, And it's free. I didn't buy it, I didn't plant it. It's managed to wheedle its way into my garden, and I'm happy for it to grow there. Now while we're at it, I'll have another rant and rave about wisteria. You don't have to grow them, you don't have to like them. But what you do have to do is manage them. And I will frequently come along and do a little drive-by snipping. One handful of shoots with my clippers. This is a little 3-minute pruning, and it just doesn't get away from me. I'm in charge, it's my plant in my garden. It will bend to my will. And finally, there is the beautiful vine, the Cochliasanthus caracalla. This is that curlicue snail plant that was featured in an earlier video when I went on my shopping spree. And what this does, it will happily grab onto a nearby plant and start winding its way around it. And I want to give you the confidence, don't be afraid to get in there and unwind plants. This goes for clematis, this goes for all sorts of things. You put them where you want. And I've had great success over the previous years in taking this off whatever plant it's grabbed onto, and then I will thread it through my white picket fence. One branch goes one way and one branch goes the other. And it works great. I sometimes think people are a little tentative about getting in there and dictating where their plant should grow, but this vine just wants to grow, and that's exactly what it will do. So this job list was no more than 25 minutes, including planting a regerzia. So it's a little bit frequently, and that way you keep on top of your summer garden chores. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.